Excellent. So we are live on this talk, on this webinar. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to this conversation with Armando Alas from ALM. Today we're going to be talking about learning from other industries, our top 10 tips to survive the current crisis. Just as a quick intro, I mean, we're not, I said it before, we're not big politicians or health experts, but, we know a thing or two about business and we have great networks. And the idea here is to put together our collective minds to come up with strategies, mitigation practices, tips that hopefully will be helping and serving some of our friends, clients on how to navigate the current times. So this is the second of a number of conversations we will be having. There's going to be we're going to be trying to have at least one or two conversations every week as we go through this. Our guest today is Armando Alas from ALM. Armando is a digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience in the digital sector. He's worked with brands in North America, Latin America, Europe, Asia, Africa. He's currently the VP of Accounts with ALM, which is one of the fulfillment partners, supply partners. It's our production arm for WSI. So we work together on many, many clients. He works also directly with enterprise clients to ensure success of their digital marketing campaigns. So he's a guy with a lot of experience. Just as a quick intro on myself, I spent over 25 years in corporate America with brands like Time Warner and Disney and Diageo. And I've been running my own digital agency also for the last few years. So between both of us, we've worked with a brand or two, and we've seen ups and downs, and hopefully we will be able to come up with some tips and advice for everyone who's listening to this call. Armando, welcome.
Thank you, Gerardo, for having me this morning, and definitely look forward to a great conversation. And as you mentioned, it's really a conversation about sharing some business practices based on our experience, and I look forward to discussing that with you today.
Excellent. Armando, where are you connecting from today?
Yeah, so I'm in Toronto, Canada. Actually, I'm not necessarily in downtown Toronto per se. Today, I'm actually from home, as everybody else is probably working from. And I actually live about 45 minutes from Toronto in a very small town called Smithville in the Niagara wine region. So beautiful place, but right now everything is isolated. So, great day, beautiful day. Had my prayers this morning. I was thanking God for a beautiful sunny day. We're lucky that we're alive, and thanking for the opportunity today as well.
Excellent, Armando. Sorry. So I was just checking on the Facebook Live. So I got a little bit phased with the sound. So Armando, is everybody safe at home?
Yeah, thank God everyone is. I was mentioned to you earlier, my wife, she's a healthcare practitioner, and she works with the government, and we're both working from home. She has the opportunity because she works with different cases post operation, and once they go home, she kind of works with them, and she's been able to. She assigns nurses, assigns helpers, and we're both happy that. I'm happy that she's definitely helping the community, and it's a big push. And
Excellent.
she's have to be in the front lines, but
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, she's, please send her our regards, and everybody that is at the front lines right now. It's, they're really heroes. So, thank you so much for thank her. For her service. Okay. So let's start the conversation, Armando. Tell us a little bit about. Firstly, tell us a little bit about how your clients are experiencing, the COVID-19 crisis. And I want to tell listeners that very quickly we will going to move into top 10 tips. Okay, but I just want to get a little bit of context of what you're seeing. I know you work with clients all over the world. I mean, we work together with, you know, on a number of clients
Yes.
too. So what is it that you're seeing generally?
For the most part, we are seeing clients being very calm in the sense that they're still marketing, they're still advertising. Some clients have clawed back their budgets a little bit, and we've had clients in the opposite, which have increased their budgets. We'll talk about it, but I get the feeling in them that people are being, amidst everything that's happening, business owners are being very, um, very smart in the sense that they're not just pulling everything back. I think that there are some companies that may get into desperation mode. It's the first thing to do, but for the most part, I'm not going to say we're not seeing any clients. Let's use the word cancel their marketing. But what we've seen is either pause. The ones who have made changes have paused, or just reduce their ad spend. But we are seeing the majority of our clients still being active and proceeding as usual, and some of them actually taking advantage in a very positive way, given the situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've been talking about this as we were getting prepared for this conversation, right? You know, how some verticals are actually doubling down because there's opportunities like financial services, for example, gaming, online gaming. While others, obviously, like the restaurant vertical, is having to rethink how they do business, right? And so depending on which vertical you're sitting, you know, there's your experience of going through this is going to be, and your priorities are going to be totally different, totally different. Do you see any verticals that are getting that are having to rethink completely their business model?
Well, you mentioned one of them, restaurants, right? A lot of restaurants don't have a takeout or an e-commerce or online ordering system, whether they're using their own or third party. And I think that's where they're going to be focusing a lot on,
Yeah.
a little bit more focus on that, and advertising on it too, right? Because you may have that online order feature, but you're not advertising or promoting it. And I think that this will kind of open up your eyes and allow you to do that, to offer that service, right? Whether it's takeout or delivery, right, in the future. So we're seeing that. The other one that we're seeing growth is, you also mentioned it, which is gaming. Obviously, there are more users from different ages online now, and we've actually, and I'm going to talk about it later, we've seen one of our clients really increase their budgets because of that.
Yeah. Why don't we go straight to that? I think you know, we have great meat here to serve. So let's start with the opportunities, right? So we said, you know, the first one is traditional marketing budgets to be reinvested in digital. Talk about that.
Yeah. So one of the key things that happened right after, well, the past probably 2-3 weeks is that, so we have clients that attend trade shows, right, and they participate in trade shows, and obviously trade shows and exhibitions were the first, let's say, business forums and networking events that got affected. And obviously, companies that have assigned budgets and have been doing that for a while, that they rely on trade shows and lead generation as a lead generation medium or channel. We've seen that now they're shifting their focus to digital. So some of the companies that we work with have launched new paid search campaigns. They've also done some paid social. And like us, like what we're doing, they have asked us to assist them with webinars and podcasts, right? So we're seeing that this companies that rely a lot on trade shows for now, they're assigning their marketing budgets to digital, and it's opened up their more opportunities, and even opening their eyes, kind of having an opportunity to see what else can they do besides just traditional, because primarily they've been focused on that. Maybe they're a little bit behind in the digital transformation, but this is helping them kind of see a different opportunity and experience for them, and they're willing to try it.
They're willing to try it. I was just having a conversation earlier today with other agencies, right? Agency owners on the WSI network, and we were talking about, you know, the real estate environment, right? How a lot of these companies are starting to, because they cannot show the houses, are actually moving a lot of their, you know, their digital transformation. They were pretty digitally transformed anyway in the sense of searching and offering, but now even virtual tours, right? To try to get people to see the houses. So there is a lot of, even for for verticals that were already within, well within, immersed in digital activities. Now this becomes more relevant in the sense of, and here we're not talking about advertising budgets. Here we're talking about uh, customer behavior, right?
Mhm.
Customer behavior has changed. People are not going to be meeting, as you were just explaining. People are not going to be meeting in, for these large events, in the foreseeable future, for the next few months. But you still need to continue being able to offer some of those services. Therefore, how do you adapt to that new, customer behavior, and still try to offer your services, right? So events, real estate are having to rethink all of these things.
Yeah, especially for example, just going back to the companies that we're seeing that were doing trade shows, if they were looking at launching a new product at
Hmm.
this convention or trade show, they still need to do the brand awareness, right? They can still release the product, and you can run campaigns digitally about just for focusing on brand awareness.
Yeah.
One of our clients, he was going to be a guest speaker at a manufacturing trade show. So he's kind of now looking at how he can use digital to still have that message of thought leadership that he was going to be able to portray at the trade show using a digital channel, right?
Yep.
So companies still need to get leads, right? Whether it's today or 30 days, 60, 90 days, they're trying different things online.
Yeah. And especially you want to have those leads in your pipeline for the
Mm-hmm.
time when a economy opens up again, right? And people starts getting out of their
Yes.
houses, and they're back to consuming your services. So Armando, let's move to opportunity number two.
Yeah, the other opportunity that we're seeing at ALM and obviously throughout the WSI network, because we work with different publishers and advertising networks to promote different products and services, yes, there is a major consensus online, and there is a lot of noise happening online about search really being down. But
Mhm.
there are some industries that are experiencing high inventory levels of searches, right? So some of the advertising networks that we work with, they have this, ability to increase the amount of internet, because of the amount of internet users online already. They're able to increase the amount of searches and traffic to a website. So we have seen that they're able to generate more impressions, so more ad views, which is branding, more
Mhm.
traffic and leads at a lower cost per click or even cost per acquisition. Again, it's not across the board because there are industries that are being affected majorly. And this is why part of these tips are, you don't have to do all 10. You can pick the one that works for you. And if this is one that works for you, where digital engagement it is at an all-time high, and you want to be able to focus your attention through online media buying, through whether it's programmatic, for example, or content syndication, you can do that.
Of course.
Yeah, so it is a possibility. We've seen that where we're experiencing that, and our advertising partners are telling us that.
And that's interesting because I think at this point, many brands, what they want to be is they want to be top of mind, right? They want to be
Mhm.
there, and remembered by their customers. Maybe you're not pushing for a sale, but maybe you're pushing for brand awareness. And whatever time, if you have the budget and you have the ability to be able to get to that reach at a lower cost, obviously you'll have to be sensitive and relevant, right? So we're seeing a lot of our clients, they're adapting their campaigns to be
Yes.
relevant to the COVID-19 crisis, right? And to be helpful.
Mhm.
Right now, what a brand can do best is to be there for their customers and to be helpful to the customers, right? But now you have the opportunity to do that at a lower cost if what you're trying to do is increase reach.
Yeah, and the key thing is it's about keeping a close eye on the results. If you have let's say for example a Facebook ads campaign or a Google AdWords campaign or a paid advertising campaign in this case, just keep your eyes on your results, your key performance indicators, and be able to maximize and optimize your ad spend. Right.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. It's a sound recommendation. Our teams are doing that, reviewing our clients' campaigns and making sure that we're bidding correctly and that we're if we're running a programmatic or just a standard Google AdWords campaign, that we're taking the proper time to optimize them as much as possible.
And for many of our listeners, there's also these Facebook incentives, right, for paid social.
Yes.
That I think they are, they might be an opportunity for many people to try to stay afloat with advertising. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's something that was shared by our team. That Facebook put out a note on their website, in the business side of their website, where they're offering $100 million in cash grants in credit. So obviously, most likely it's probably going to be credits that they're giving small, medium-sized businesses, and they are looking at 30,000 eligible clients in 30 countries. Now, again, they haven't really said how it's going to get done, but it's an initiative that they're testing out. So just be on the lookout for things like this, because this is an opportunity. If you've never done Facebook ads and you qualify, might as well take advantage, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's a way of trying to to help small businesses, right? Because this is not for enterprise level.
Yes, it's my understanding is that it's primarily for small businesses who are being affected. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, so now let's talk about the opportunity number 3, or tip number 3, which is some industries are natural for they will thrive naturally through this, right?
Yeah, and I think that what we wanted to kind of share with this tip is that be on the lookout what your competitors may be doing, what other direct or indirect competitors are doing, as well as similar companies. For example, we have seen in our space with our clients a gaming company in Europe who has seen a totally increase in their signups, for example, and new users. And the key thing that they did was not only did they increase their ad spend on existing games that they're very successful at, but they took that opportunity to add budgets to games where they have a lower level of membership, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they are seeing some good results. So they were able to lift the results in that area. Another one that we're working with, another WSI consultant in the US, it's a learning center, and they actually offer
distant learning.
Yeah, distance learning.
I see the same. I have a client, which is a group of 16 universities. They do online executive education, and they have already built the platform. And now what they've done is, because they had to close their campuses, they just moved all of their effort into signing up for online education for the full, for the full career, right? For the full bachelor's degree, at least until people can go back to the campuses, right? So anything that can be delivered digitally, like online education is a great example. It's prime for an opportunity in this case.
It is an opportunity, specifically if, let's say, your business has a division or has a section that focuses on that, but you haven't really been doing much to it. You haven't been investing the marketing in it. Right now, there is an opportunity, obviously, to connect with. And that's what happened with this client, because basically about 4 months ago, they told us they were going to pull their budgets because of funding, because they are also a nonprofit. But all of a sudden, in the last week or so, they've actually changed their approach. They're focusing more on their online learning platform, and they've seen increasing results across the board, right?
I tell you another industry that it's very close to my heart, because I worked in it for too many years, and I love it, which is the entertainment industry, right? With all of the changes in consumer behavior, and most of the networks moving towards digital consumption, either through a TV everywhere application or an over-the-top type of application, subscription based, like Netflix, Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus, or even if you're a cable subscriber through some of your apps.
That's,
you have people spending more time at home, having to having to consume content, right? With the opportunity to, and what are people doing? They're looking at their screens all the time. So a subscription-based service that it's a content driven, like TV or entertainment, it's, I think, and I haven't looked at the numbers, it's prime for growth. It's a different thing if you're a TV channel and maybe you're suffering on the advertising front, but certainly there's an opportunity on the subscription front to try to increase revenues there.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. If you have a subscription-based business, whether it's education or a service that you provide to your end clients, there is an opportunity. I mean,
Yeah,
my son just signed up to a Fender's, I think it's a 45, 60-day free
it's true.
guitar lessons, right?
The Fender service for guitar players.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you're able to do something like that for the first 45, 60 days, the win is that, yes, you're providing a service, but you're also capturing and increasing your database. So once this passes,
yeah,
you can start nurturing, etc. Right?
yeah. And people are trying it out.
Yes.
People are trying it out. They might stay with you, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's actually a very, very good point, and that's a great opportunity. So the 45. So the tip here is the 45 to 60-day trials are are great because you're letting people, you're providing help, right? So people are at
Mm-hmm.
home, they're getting it, they're not paying for it, but now they're trying it. If they like it, once this life goes back to normal, they might stay with you.
Yeah, and if you see normally promotions are only 30 days, and having a 45, 60-day window, you're kind of doing what the competition may not be doing, right? And at the same time, people feel more compelled to sign up, and you can still nurture them and advertise to them as
Yeah,
needed, right?
yeah. Let me just pause here, and for people who are connected with us, if you have any questions, you can just tap them or raise your hand through the Zoom app. We'll be happy to be answering them as we go through. Okay, and we'll have at the end also a section for for questions. Let's move to opportunity number 4 or tip number 4, which is all about e-commerce, right? Let's talk
Yeah,
about e-commerce.
that's something that we've also seen in the past few weeks with our e-commerce clients. Yes, there have been some industries that have been affected, and obviously their sales, online sales, have gone down. But we have seen some of them that are preparing, because obviously there is a great opportunity right now with everybody being ordering online and trying to even survive just with online products and products primarily. And we have seen that. And one of the things is that I kind of wanted to mention was just just in preparation, right? It's not really about, you having to do something today, but it's something that you can start preparing for. Some of the stats that came out of, for example, in the Chinese market, Italian market, where there was some surveys done where 50% of Chinese and 31% of Italian consumers are now shopping online more frequently than before. So the wave is going to come. The wave is going to happen also in North America, right? And other countries are following up as well. So if you are in e-commerce business, or or you've had it, never really focus on that, pay attention to your e-commerce business, and again, practice caution in terms of managing your business. Keep your eyes on your key performance indicators. And there are two things that I want to talk about here that we've seen. Is number one, keep an eye on your shopping cart abandonment, right? In some industries, they've seen lower shopping cart abandonments in terms of percentages that are happening. So keep an eye on this. If you see that there's a lower, obviously put some more efforts into it, right? Put more advertising in it. Fill the top of the funnel, right, with more advertising activities. And the other thing that we've seen is that's also shared across the industry with other marketers is average order values has gone up, right?
Yep.
Obviously, people are spending more, right? So
Yep.
you are in this industry and you're experiencing that, take advantage of that. Keep an eye on that and take advantage of that. Have promotions, upsells, cross-selling promotions. Again, don't overkill it, but take the right approach, target your audience, and be able to take advantage of this, right?
Yeah. So I have a question there, because I've been talking to, I have e-commerce clients, and I have I work with some of our partners. We're working on a lot of conversion rate optimization type of projects, where we're trying to get people to sign up for services or purchases. And what we've seen talking to clients is that they are actually selling more, right? Because there's more activity online, but their issue is not selling, their issue is fulfillment, right? Their issue right
Yes.
now is that their supply chain might be devastated,
Yes.
or might be very slow. So at some point, what they're saying is, let's stop selling so much, because what we have to do actually is we have to slow down given that we cannot fulfill. So some of the solutions there that we thought about, but I'd love to get your thought into it, is to limit, for example, purchase orders, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So instead of you being able to buy as many quantities as you want, is okay, you can buy one or two because you have a limited inventory, right? And you want to be able to spread it out. Another solution is to change your delivery times, right? So instead of
Mhm.
promising
Yes.
24 or 48-hour delivery time, is to be very open and say, given current situation, this might take us a week or two to deliver, right?
Mhm.
Just handle it that way. Have you seen this with with other clients, and how are you guys trying to help clients solve this?
Yeah, no, we've seen exactly the same thing that you're mentioning, and the two items the 2 points that you mentioned are two essential things. One of them is communicate. Well, the bottom line is communicate with your customer, right? Letting
Yep.
them know that there may be delay in times, right? And at the same time, you want to let them know that there is a product quantity limitation, right?
Hmm.
And that's very important. If you are an e-commerce business, everybody's experiencing that, so it's not just you, right?
Yeah.
Even Amazon's having the same issue, right? Amazon Prime is no longer, they're just focusing on essential items to deliver on time, and everything else is non-essential. There's a big delay on it. So
Hmm.
it is an opportunity that we're for twofold. One, if you were competing against the Amazons of the world, because let's say you're not selling your products through Amazon, then here's an opportunity for you to service, right, faster if you can, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then the other one is, where you can offer a USB, but at the same time, just communicating with your clients is a great opportunity to let them know what's happening and letting them know that, yeah, there's going to be delay in times. There are purchase orders limitations at the moment, but in the next while 45, 60, 90 days, things will go back to normal. So I think communication is very important, if anything, with your customer.
Yeah, and I think we have a point about this in terms of CRM, but I think the whole CRM strategy behind all of this, in terms of
Mhm.
what messaging, and what are we telling customers in terms of how we're adapting as a business to
Mhm.
deal with delays, cancellations, and everything that is impacting business as usual. I think it's very, very important, right? So communication,
Mhm.
either personal or at scale, is going to be, it is something that I would suggest everybody to look into. Well,
Yes.
actually, uh, in this conversation, I was talking about Carlos Guzman, who is one of our heads in Mexico, was telling that, he was mentioning that they are implementing a one-touch protocol strategy, right? And I think this is valuable for any type of business, where every week they make sure that somebody from the company is in touch with active clients, right?
Mhm.
But in touch meaning a phone call, or, to try to understand what they're going through, to try to understand what they are experiencing, and figuring out how you as a company can help them and can support them. Because at this point, it's so important to be able to maintain that line of communication with your customers, and try to be to be of help. Right now is not the time to sell necessarily, but to support, right? As we're all going through this.
Especially if you're a B2B business, right? Because it's more
Hmm.
personal than I
Hmm.
mean, B2C, it's more mass. You
Of course.
but B2B, yeah, for sure.
But even with B2C, you have people like Google offering Hangouts,
Mhm.
enterprise services for free for the next 60 days, right?
Yes.
Microsoft is doing the same. So even if you're a B2C business, there's things you could be doing to show that you care, and to show that you're offering a helping hand,
Yes, definitely.
right?
Yeah.
So let's move to the next tip, which is increase webinar-based lead generation programs. This is more for B2B, but let's talk about that. This is what we're doing now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Even though we're not selling, even though
yeah.
honestly, this is us trying to help, but
Yes. And that's the key thing. It's about being educational, and that's what we're seeing with our clients. As I mentioned at the top of the conversation, the ones that aren't investing that are investing more in digital, they've asked us to help them with their webinars, because you may not be prepared, right? Let's be honest. Setting up a webinar series or even one webinar takes time and effort and content, etc. So they've asked us to help them in the system from every aspect, from initial research, brainstorming, all the way till the end. So we've been able to do that. And one of the key things that I wanted to mention here is that if you're running a webinar, which our clients are doing, you want to be able to map your content, your messaging to where to the right area section of your sales funnel, right? So for example, if you're looking at the awareness stage, which is the top of the funnel, you want to focus on thought leadership type content, right? Yeah. Informational, educational. If you're looking at consideration, some application and benefits, specifically in given times, use some, some examples that are present, right? And if they're in the evaluation, presenting a solution, obviously in ROI with some case studies. And if you have prospects that are at the purchase level that may, be taking their time because obviously the situation, you may do some demos or special offerings for them, right? Yeah. So with webinars, again, it's a matter of engaging with your client, educating. You have to offer value information. There's so much noise out there. So you want to be able to show your thought leadership by offering the right type of information. And
and the extra benefit of webinars is that once you've done a webinar, that's an asset. That's content that you have that you can repurpose, you can promote, you can write a blog out of it. You can turn into social media postings. It just becomes an asset that you can use to promote your services going forward.
Exactly.
And some people monetize them going forward too, especially if it's an educational webinar. Once you set up the whole sequence, people can actually buy into that webinar for a fee. If let's say you're teaching a skill, right? So if it's a paying webinar, that becomes an asset that you have, that you have in place, that eventually, if it has demand, will continue to return.
Definitely. And even if you, let's say, offer the first webinar for free, for example, and then the rest have a fee, it also can generate some revenue as well for you as an organization. But we're seeing a lot of educational type webinar requests from our clients.
And I'm curious, on the topic of charging for webinars, have you seen a model where you offer variable fee? So for example, if the user can access for free, but but you recommend a donation. So basically, if you can pay whatever you can pay, but if you can't, just access it. Have you seen those?
No, it's a good idea though. I think it'd be a good idea to test. I haven't seen that, but I think that at the end of the day, you're still getting a lead. From, if we look at monetizing, right? You're getting a lead that can be monetized in the future, right? And that's what it's all about today too. It's really focusing on what can we do today for the next few months, right? Specifically during this this time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so let's move to next tip. Refresh your digital presence. Refresh your website.
Yeah, this is one that also caught us a little bit
as a surprise, right? People are building websites.
Yeah, we've had an increase in website development, not just builds, but also proposal requests, right? Getting quotes. And it's because companies are taking the time now to do things that they weren't able to do before because of time constraints, right? Or resource constraints, right?
Yeah, so, or Armando, because also a lot of people they decided they did not need a digital presence, right? Because they were doing all of their business as usual, right?
Yes.
But now it's pretty evident that if you don't have a digital presence, now you're behind, in the sense that people can't find you because you cannot get to them, or they cannot walk to your store. You cannot, you cannot knock on their door. So to me, one of the things that it's, I was talking to Jack Porter-Smith yesterday, and he was telling me that if you go to Google Trends and you look, and we're talking about our business, right? So digital marketing. If you go to Google Trends and you look for digital marketing, the search for digital marketing is at an all-time high, right?
Yes.
Because people now are trying to figure out if they did not had a digital presence, how do I get there, right? So I think that's part of what you're seeing in terms of requests for proposals.
Yes, exactly. And we're seeing two types. One of them is obviously a complete website revamp because they really need to refresh their brand online because it's a virtual store now, as you
Yep.
mentioned. So they want to, and many clients have not, even simple things as added their SSL certificates or made their websites responsive. You can't. The number of websites out there that are still not responsive today is very high. So now they're doing it. They're coming up with this new strategy, or even website facelifts and fixes, right? Things that were broken or not really paid attention to from a technical perspective. Now they're doing it, right? And we're seeing that. So they're taking this downtime to refresh their brand online,
Yeah.
right? So it's a good thing that we've seen. So if you're in that situation, yeah, take the time to do it
Take the
now.
time to do it, and
Yeah.
there's free platforms to do it. You don't have to hire agencies like like us. If you don't have the budgets, there's
Mhm.
Squarespace and Wix. There's
Mhm.
there's plenty of ways of doing this at a budget if you need to. But your point is that a website is, and I know you have that on your notes. We discussed this. It's a sales rep that doesn't get sick, that works 24/7. It's a tool that now more than ever is needed.
Exactly, to be connected with your customer base, right, with your clients, and
Exactly.
be there for them. So you don't want them to come to a clunky website that's very slow to load, has outdated information, outdated features, or not features that are not working. And unfortunately, you know what, there is still a high number of websites today that are like that, right? So
Yeah.
these companies that we've seen are taking the right approach.
Yeah.
it,
Okay.
it's a fundamental basic one, but it's
I know,
interesting.
I know. It's right now it is time to look into that
Yeah.
because people probably are going to searching you through some of the screens they're sitting at home.
Exactly.
Right. So tip number 6, using downtime to invest or improve some of your digital marketing maintenance activities.
Yeah, we call these maintenance activities because these are things that you should be doing on an ongoing basis. But again, companies are tight with sometimes time, resources, budgets. And what we've seen is that they're now focusing on developing new content. So that content that you be putting off to getting it done, articles, white papers, case studies, success stories, blogs. We are seeing some of our clients kind of wanting to refresh that or put out new content. Like we have another WSI partner who also focuses on PR, that they're going, they're having a high demand from their clients in PR type content, right? So right now is the time to do that if you have the time, right? Video marketing, all right, it's another thing that's also in the rise. It was already on the rise, but now we're seeing that they want to give a message, short message, use video, right?
Yeah, and one of the things that I would say with the messaging, I think obviously, given what we're going through, you have to be very sensitive of the crisis and the COVID-19 and everything that's going on. But also, you don't want to be doom and gloom, right? You want to be
Yes.
sensitive, but you want to be positive, right? You want to be a helping hand. You want to be that, let's leave all of the concerns to the news,
Mhm.
but become a helping hand in the sense of the services that you offer or the help that you can provide to your customers through your services.
Yeah, yeah, and this tip is really a little bit of, you can call it spring cleaning, if you will, right? Because
Yeah.
there's things that you kind of wanted to get to. Maybe your marketing coordinator has a lot of balls; he's juggling a lot of balls, or they're juggling a lot of balls, and now they have the opportunity to say, you know what? Let's go back to our Google AdWords campaigns. Let's do some adjusting on the PPC campaigns, or search for new terms. Uh, you know, try different ideas, pilot new offers, etc. Do some A/B testing, if you
Testing.
will. So I think that it's the time too that you can take and revitalize your strategy as well, right? And execute it, right? We
Mhm.
are still seeing a lot of people that kind of throw spaghetti at the wall. They hope things stick, and when they don't stick, they actually, they renounce the channel, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, oh, it doesn't work. Well, right now it's a time for you to, like you said, there's a lot of online advice, and be careful with the online advice. But even talking to a consultant like yourself, just understanding some basic level recommendations for a strategy, right? It's important to do that now as well.
And I would say part of this spring cleaning is thinking about how, doing some scenario planning, right? So not only looking at your maintenance, but thinking about your customers and their buyer's journey, and doing some scenario planning, right? So in the sense of how will this, think through what's going through right now. My advice is think through if you believe that your buyer's journey is going to change given this, right? Are people going to change their behaviors based on what they have experienced now, right? Maybe they've realized, I'm going to give an example. If you are a business that what you do is workshops and education, and now you see that everyone, all of your clients are starting to access education online. Will people go back to live workshops, or will they start buying more online, right? And want to do more virtual, right? So think through those situations, because as we go back to normal, if your buyer's journey has changed and people are consuming your services differently, are you going to be ready to continue fulfilling for those services that way, right?
Yeah.
So it's not only the spring cleaning in the terms of the physical activities, but also thinking about, to me, is thinking about how this is going to change how people interact with me, my business, my product, and how they purchase it.
No, that's 100% correct. What you're saying is really about thinking of the future and preparing for the future and setting different scenarios, right? No,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. No,
yeah.
I don't know if the next one that I had a kind of something that's been happening also is that we've seen a lot of clients now try to, a lot of their CRM activities and marketing automation activities were placed on hold because they were too busy to do. Now they're coming back to us and saying, you know what, I'm rethinking this workflow. Can we redo that? So they're spending the time to do the things that they didn't have before. Let's focus on optimizing or redoing our lead scoring, for example. We need this type of reporting. So we're getting this type of requests now from our CRM clients as well, where before, they didn't have the time to review. Now they're doing it. They're taking a step back, and they're fixing some of their CRM challenges, and even in marketing automation, some of their email nurturing campaigns. Let's rework our landing pages, our email templates, the messaging you mentioned before, right? So things that to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're talking, to a client about that together, right? With they purchased Pardo, but they never had a CRM automation in place, and they might, now is the time to look into that. But it happens at every level, right? There's clients that maybe they've never had an email campaign, and if you've never had it, and you don't have the big budgets, there's tools like Constant Contact and MailChimp that can get you started.
Yes.
For in many cases for free, depending on the amount of how big your list is. But I guess the point is, if you haven't done email marketing and email automation, this is a time to start thinking about that, because it's another way of being in contact with with your list, with your leads. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Tip number 8, SEO. Let's talk about SEO, search engine optimization.
Exactly. So this is one that obviously sometimes, because it's a longer burn, if you will.
It's a longer build.
Yeah. And people are saying, well, why do I need it today? Well, definitely you want to be able to take advantage of the opportunity in many ways, right? Yes, there are some losses in organic searches, and the organic channel has seen a drop in overall when you look at the whole numbers, right?
But really?
Yeah. In some numbers there has been a drop, but we have seen also, because unfortunately, that's the first thing sometimes that people will start cutting out that in Google AdWords or paid search, right? They start cutting their budget. So there is a bit of an opening there, an opportunity, because you don't want to reduce your your spend on SEO or content marketing efforts. That's one of the things that we wouldn't recommend, because it's you want to be prepared that once the situation gets better, to normality in the next months, whether it's weeks or months, that you are positioned in the right spot, right? That you are ready to take advantage of that. And once search demand increases again to higher levels, you want to be able to thrive because you're positioned. So it's time to go after high competitive keywords, perhaps, right? Secure those spots, right?
You start building for the future.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you have the budgets, right? Some people will be struggling to pay, for basics. So I totally get it that depending on your business situation, it's how you have to behave. But if you have the reserves to do this, it's a good time to be investing, because when demand comes back, it's going to come back hard.
Yeah. So, and we have seen some of the clients that are, doubling on their SEO activities because, maybe they've been trying to increase or expand into multiple markets, and now they're able to do so because they have this extra budget, right? So it's something that you shouldn't. We'll try to continue on the path of SEO is our best recommendation, because it takes so long to build. If you stop it, you're going to start deranking. The rankings are going to start going down, which leads to less traffic, which leads to potential less conversions, right? And then you have to rebuild again, right? So if you have to lower it down, okay, do it to a level where you're not damaging your existing performance, right? And like you said, it's about the future. So it's not about success right now. It's about success when everything comes to normal, which you will. I mean, so
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And by the way, just for our listeners, if you want to know how your SEO is doing, we offer complimentary SEO audits all the time. They're free, and they're a really good way to figure out what your online presence is. So just reach out to us at some point if that's something you want to you want to figure it out. We're offering all of those things for free right now, trying to help everyone. Okay. Let's go to tip number 10. Don't come back, which I'll let you introduce that one.
Yeah, I think that this is a very important one. And even from our experience, wanted to share a bit about us, ALM. Obviously, we've been around for quite a while. And we did experience the dot-com crash in 2000 and 2008. Obviously, in 2000, we're a very young company, very young. But we did experience both of them. And we do know, obviously in lean times, the first thing that small businesses do, and they make that mistake, is cutting down their marketing budget, like slashing it to the bone or eliminating, right? And that's not the right thing to do. Yes, the reduction is good, right? To a degree that's not hurting your business, right? Because you want to make sure that that you're still positioned strong once the storm passes, right? And it's kind of a little bit to what we were saying before with SEO, but you want to make sure that you're there to help them. You're not just obsolete. You want to take this opportunity to remain fresh in the minds of your clients. To do that, you have to advertise. You want to be there to offer support. You need to do some marketing, right? You need to advertise, right? And it's what you just mentioned. It's not about breaking the bank or using up all of your reserves. That's not what this is all about. It's about really staying active in your digital marketing activities, right? And seek the opportunities that work best for you.
Yeah, and being smart. Being smart with with the budget, of course, right? So being really smart, invested in whatever is going to drive you the best return at this given time, right? And if the return is being in mind of building up a lead pipeline for when leads come by again, then let's do that, right? Is and for other for other services, it's going to be more about brand awareness, because you want people to remember you for the time they come out of their houses and are able to come back to your retail space. So whatever that is, you have to think through specifically for your business. So I think with this, we come down to the top 10 tips. I'd love to, if people have any questions or any comments, just put them on our chat window, and we'll be happy to answer them. But in the meantime, Armando, any last thoughts? Any last thoughts on?
Yes. No, I mean, I think that the 10 tips were pretty straightforward, and it really, it's about helping. And if you're a marketer or a small, medium-sized business owner and don't know what to do, hopefully one or two or three of these will assist you in your next steps. And that's what this is all about. So really about providing you with some positive, proactive, and practical best business practices. There's so much noise out there. Again, I talked about it earlier, and you want to make sure that you're doing something, because not doing anything, sitting and not doing anything is not the right approach either. So you have to be active, and if you're smart and you want to really increase your success, in the future, you want to stay active and even overlap your competitors by perhaps being more active than them. And that's what we're seeing with some of the clients that have taken advantage of this. Obviously, don't overdo it, don't overkill it. You be tactful, be professional, but yeah, you have to be active.
Absolutely. So I'll just repeat the top 10 tips, so our listeners can have them, and maybe if they're taking notes, they can take them now. So the tip number one: traditional marketing budgets. If you're sitting on traditional marketing budgets, think if there's an opportunity to reinvest them into digital, right? Which is where people are now accessing a lot of the content. Think about your online media buying, and take advantage, if you have the reserves, to the fact that the ad spend right now and the bids are pretty low. So if you're in a business that would benefit from brand awareness, right now is the time to maybe get in, and check into the Facebook incentives. If you're a small business, Facebook has offered $100 million in grants for small businesses. This is something pretty new. We don't have many details, but if you check with Facebook, this might be an opportunity for you to take advantage of that. Um, think about your industry and figure out if there's an opportunity to make it thrive. So if you are in education, can you move to online education? If you offer any type of content, can you move that into a subscription wall where people now pay you for that content? So think through your industry and figure out if you can change the business model based on how the consumer behavior is going in this day and age, and see if that's something that could help you through this time. E-commerce is huge right now. All e-commerce portals are actually doing really well. Some of the issues there have to do with supply chain. So if you have an issue with supply chain and you can't fulfill your orders, then it's all about communication, and maybe changing some simple things like size of orders or delivery times to be able to continue offering those services to your clients. Um, Tip number five, webinar based, especially for education, increase webinar based lead generation programs. So if you were used to doing event marketing to try to generate leads, can you move that into a webinar setup? Those are great tools to continue having that conversation with potential leads. Um, Refresh your website. This is the time to, first of all, if you did not have a digital presence, now it's pretty evident that you need one. And if you did have one, but it's clunky and not optimized for mobile, and now people are all at home trying to figure out what they do with their time, now is the time to do some spring cleaning and fix that. Tip number six, use this downtime to do some spring cleaning, your business activities, marketing activities. Think about scenario planning. How is this crisis going to change? Is it going to change permanently how people do business with you, how people buy your services? If that's the case, how do you need to adapt to be able to continue offering those services and survive once people are back in the streets? Email marketing and email automation. If you're not engaged in email marketing, this is a time to figure that out. we need to continue communicating with our customers and with our clients. And one of the best ways of doing that is through email marketing and email automation. It's actually the highest return on investment of all the tactics, and it's the cheapest because it's the cheapest to do. So if you don't have a database, or if you're not using that database to communicate to clients, this is the time to start figuring that out with all that time you have in your hands. Continue the path to SEO, right?
Yes.
In sense of SEO, search engine optimization, it's a longer term build. If you have started doing that and you're thinking of cutting it, don't, or I mean, if you can, try to keep it, because it's going to take time, and you want to be ready by the time people are searching for your services when they're back in buying mode. And then be smart with your marketing. Don't necessarily cut back full budgets. This is a time to think very, very strategically and intelligently about where do you put your budget that will drive the highest return on investment for you, the most efficiency.
Definitely. Yeah, because just to finalize and add to that, the companies that we've experienced in the two economic downturns, and the ones that came successful, were the ones that were spending. Obviously, don't break the bank, but they were being active. And that's the key thing. Continue to be active and position yourself in your market.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent. Armando, thank you so much for, for your time, for your insights. We've been working for a while together. We're great partners. I really enjoy a lot the work that we do together, but also thank you for bringing all of this knowledge and insights that you have from working with so many different industries and verticals. It's always very interesting conversation. I hope it was helpful for our listeners. We will be recording this video. We will put it onto a podcast as well, so you can share it with people that you think might be helpful for them. Thank you so much for attending, and stay safe, okay? Yeah. Stay safe, and
everyone,
and enjoy your time with family. Enjoy your time at home too.
Yes, at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you,
everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.